Okay, this is Civil Action 2019 CV 328611. It's an interpleader action. The sheriff has already been permitted to put the excess funds from a tax sale into the registry of the court. I believe we've got about 36,600 and some change of money to distribute. And there are, as I understand it, two claimants remaining. Everyone else has gotten out of the way. Mr. Onweh, who was the owner of the house at the time of the tax sale, he wants everything. And he shared that with all of us in court when we had a status conference in this case a couple months ago. Then Investa Services is claiming just under $10,000 as I understand it, but we've got Mr. Sams on this video conference who can articulate Investa Services claim and the scope of it. And as I understand it, Investa concurs that the remainder would go to Mr. Onweh. So no matter how one slices this, Mr. Onweh will be receiving a significant amount of money. It's either all of it or it's most of it minus the amount that Investa is entitled to, I think because it purchased a bunch of tax liens from the tax commissioner. But what I'm going to do, Mr. Sams, is turn it over to you and let me know what you think ought to happen in the case and why. I have your exhibits that you were hoping to work through during the course of the proceeding. Mr. Onweh was given notice to be here either physically. I'm in courtroom 1D right now. There is a deputy here. The courtroom is open. So Mr. Onweh could be here in person. He also was informed as to how to connect virtually in the way that Mr. Sams and someone from Investa, I think it's Ms. King.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Ms. King. And that's how Ms. King has connected. So with that, Mr. Sams, take it away.
Well, Your Honor, it's a pretty straightforward argument. We stand in the shoes of the tax commissioner, the city of South Fulton, and Fulton County in our claim for taxes under 48.319. So that statute is pretty clear that a transferee of taxes stands in the shoes of the tax commissioner and or the municipality or the county that it takes transfer of taxes from. So we claim entitlement to $9,881.84 of the excess funds pursuant to 48.528, saying that taxes shall be paid first. 48.256, which also says that taxes shall be paid first. And there are various statutes that allow for penalties and interest to be applied to the principal amount. I did a hearing brief. I'm not sure if Your Honor had a chance to review it, but all the statutory sites are contained within.
It is, and they are, and I have it in front of me now. Question, in your hearing brief and what Ms. Niles, my staff attorney, prepared for the hearing was a different figure. It was $9,834.66. You just cited a higher figure that is also represented in Exhibit B of the exhibits you were hoping to use. It's a small difference, but what's the difference? $50-ish.
It's the additional interest that calculates every month.
Okay.
So originally we thought the hearing was scheduled for last month. So we gave you a figure through what we thought was the hearing date.
Okay.
We updated the amount, current to what is due now.
Okay.
The additional interest, and that's under 48.240, the additional interest.
So instead of 9,834.66, these unpaid liens have grown in size thanks to interest to 9,881.84. And that reflects the fact that Mr. Onweh made a near complete payment of the principal of the 2014 county lien. Is that right?
Miss King can actually probably go into it a little bit more detail. I believe he made 4 payments. Is that right, Miss King?
He actually made 3 payments,
3 payments.
Shannon, towards the taxes. This was in 2017. The first payment that we collected was a payment to actually stop a tax sale. I provided him with a payment plan and he tendered $1,000. Of the $1,000, $586.69 was collected and forwarded to the Fulton County Sheriff's for their statutory levy fees. The remaining portion of the $1,000, which was $413.31, was applied to the 2014 Fulton County tax FIFA balance. After getting that amount, Mr. Onweh agreed to make monthly payments of $425. He did remit 2 subsequent monthly payments towards the 2014 taxes, one on May 19th for $425. The second arrived June 20th, 2017 for $425.
And if we add up those 3 figures, the 2 monthly payments plus what remained of the $1,000 that didn't go to the sheriff, that's how we get the $1,263.31.
You are correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So he gets credit for that, and that leaves the outstanding balance at the 9881 and change. Okay.
And Your
So, Mr. Sams, is there anything else you want to add? As they say, your papers look in order, and this isn't, I don't think legally this was a complicated proceeding. I did want Mr. Onweh to have an opportunity to be heard. Maybe he felt that he was heard loud and clear when we were all together in court, because he declined to join us today. But are there other things we need to discuss?
Well, I understand. I wasn't at the last hearing, of course, but I understand there was some confusion maybe about whether the invested taxes had been satisfied and in the tax sale that generated the excess funds. If you look at the tax deed, there were 2011 FIFAs that were presented. So, and it was by a different servicer, had nothing to do with Investa. So I think there was some confusion about that point, from what I understand.
There was a lot of emotion, and a number of entities were called snakes and thieves and this and that. So it was pretty colorful, and I am a little surprised Mr. Onweh isn't back today to continue to share his perspective, but I did get to hear it pretty clearly, and here we are. Okay. So. But that's a helpful point, and I don't know that that was fully comprehended either back then, meaning at the time of our status hearing, or really at any point during, I don't know if there were negotiations or conversations or how we describe it between Mr. Onweh and the various creditors who were trying to collect from him. But he seemed pretty adamant that there had been some swindle of some sort. Who owns the property now?
Let me see. I'll have to look at the tax deed. And when you ask that question, whoever purchased the property at the tax sale would have had to have conducted barment and then maybe done a quiet title after that. So ownership would depend on whether they went all the way through the quiet title action and got a fee simple declaration of title. But
so they may not have done that, and Mr. Onweh may still live there?
It's possible, Your Honor. It's possible. I'd have to see who the purchaser was.
I have information, Shannon.
Is it Harvest Assets? Do I have that right?
Yeah, I have it as Hannah Assets,
Hannah,
and they purchased the tax deed for $42,000.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to need a good address for Mr. Onweh, because I'm going to ask you, Mr. Sams, to draft the final order and send it in Word format to Ms. Niles. The clerk's office is not real interested in having people come in to pick up their checks. They are asking that if at all possible, we get good addresses and they'll send them out certified mail. So I don't know. Let me look what we've got in Odyssey.
Your Honor, what I did, I'll have to modify it because the amount changed as we already discussed, but I drafted a proposed order, attached it to the hearing brief, and I included a disbursement to Mr. Onweh based on his address he listed on his answer.
Okay.
So if everything else is in order, it might be as simple as modifying the amount due to Investa and the remainder due to Mr. Onweh, because his address should be correct.
Right. That shouldn't hopefully he's not bouncing around. And that answer was not very long ago. That was December of last year. And let's see what he put there. Vermont Circle. Okay. Well, hopefully that works. We'll see what happens. So I don't think you need to do any rewriting. I think you're right. You can swap out the figure because time has passed and interest has accrued, and we'll handle it that way.
Okay, right.
Great. Mr. Sams, anything else on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, Ms. King, thank you for coming into the office to dial in. It was important to have you here in case things were more contested than they were. And I'll get the order out as quickly as we can.
Okay,
Thanks.
great. Thank you very much.
All right, everyone take care.
You too.